G'day, this is Captainoob, and this is a Yinglong. This is a weapon from Cyberpunk 2077, and I believe it's the iconic version, which is basically your Fallout unique, iconic version of the smart SMG, and it is SMG despite firing the 5.56 rounds, which are blatantly rifle bullets, and I got a couple of bones to pick with this, because this doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. First of all, we've got this magazine here, which obviously feeds into there, meaning we've got basically zero barrel space. You've only got this giant muzzle brake here as a barrel. Now, we're not firing conventional ammo, it's firing little, I guess, gyro jets that are guided, so maybe muzzle flash isn't a problem. But if you decide to load this with 5.56s, you're going to create one hell of a light show, possibly blind yourself when firing this thing. Okay, maybe not that much, but still. You've got this whole big brain thing on the top here, which is really quite unfortunate because you've got the sights, and the sights are mounted on the side here, and it gets weirder because when you hold this thing, if I come off the workbench for just a second, you hold it sideways like that, like a gangster, right? But when you aim down sights, you get a little bit of zoom in. But watch when I fire, the ejection port, and I don't know if this is a thing that exists on the Cyberpunk weapon in game, but the ejection port is spitting them directly up. So one of those hot shell casings is going to go in Iris's eye, and then she's going to be blind, having to rely on Adam to see stuff. Anyways, so you've got this section here, which kind of looks like a Chris Vector. There's no cool recoil control system here. There's no recoil at all, really. As you can probably hear, this thing uses standard assault rifle noises, which is fine since it fires the 5.56. We're only doing 86 damage, which doesn't really seem like a lot, but if we can get this thing basically guided on target, I think we'll have a fun time. By the way, Yinglong means responsive dragon in Chinese, like roughly, KANG TAO. So yeah, it's a Chinese weapon, so some communist infiltrator in the Fallout universe already brought this along, so yep. Well, we're gonna be commie bashing for this video, I suppose. Anyways, let's see what we got. Standard receiver. Barrel, standard. Can't extend that barrel at all. Magazine, standard. Can't do anything there. But you can change the sights on it, which you can't see unless you tilt the weapon around. Ooh, that looks nice. Light blue. Let's go light green. That's the, it goes with the green aesthetic we've got with this character. Is it nice and lime green? Very good. We'll use that one. Legendary effect is there if you need it. I reckon explosive would be fun with this because it'll just completely cancel out any of the tracking capability this has. You can have a standard stock, or you could have it unload, which makes it more compact. But yeah, you've got the stock there, but you'll still hold this thing sideways like a gangster. Now, I've installed a little bit of a pack to this. There's extra third-person animations. Like, where is that stock placed? Is that on my sternum? Do you want to breathe when firing this thing? No. Also, in third person, it looks like that. Great. And I've just activated the workshop thing. It completely destroys the camera, but when you move, it goes sideways. Oh, that's really weird. Let's maybe not use this thing in third person. Alright, so right now I've got a smart BLT belt, I don't know, which has self-guided micro projectiles, or a penetrator which has penetration through walls, which could be kind of interesting. Maybe we'll give that one a go just to see what that's capable of. You can either have it full auto or semi-auto. Semi-automatic will give you a slower rate of fire, but extra damage per bullet might be worth thinking about if you're running low on ye old 5.56s. And that's it. That's one of our Yinglongs. Can I say that? Am I gonna get cancelled? Okay, so there's a smart link version of sights if you want to use them there. We're gonna use the blue one. There's no green ones here. What a travesty. Also, there is the ability to put a suppressor on these, but they don't increase the damage, so Ace Operator don't work here. No way, no how. Getting this weapon in-game is really easy. Just go on your chemistry workbench, scroll down to weapon-Yinglong, and there it is. Worth mentioning, this thing also has a level-list injection version on the Nexus if you would like to receive this weapon in a more organic fashion. Let's make a couple of these. Righto, so here we are outside of the good old-fashioned immersive Gunners Plaza. There's a reload if you're wondering what that looks like, and this is what it looks like in first person, or mainly this is what this particular site looks like, but safety first. Perfect. Now those hot shell casings won't get into your eyeballs and make you go blind. Perfect. we are 100% protected from anything that might harm us. Now, when you're using this thing in third person, they've got a whole animation set like I mentioned earlier, and the camera, like, it doesn't really follow all that well all the time. But when you fire this thing, just without aiming down sights in third person, like, wouldn't you want to hold this thing like that anyway? You could easily just mount that reflex sight on the other side of the weapon, maybe put it a little bit higher, get one of those, I don't know, those AK sight things where they just sort of mount stuff without Picatinny rails, or maybe just put a Picatinny rail there. I don't think there's anything there on the side of that brain piece that'll actually be super useful, but once you actually start moving and you aim down sights or whatever, just get the weapon drawn. When you start moving, that's when it'll cause issues like that. And ignore that roll, that's not part of this mod. But when you sprint like that instead of leading down like a Fallout 4 character usually would. So it's like a full animation set just to make this thing work a little bit like it does in Cyberpunk, which I can appreciate. A lot of work went into that. Also, oh, that's weird. You can actually face in a different direction when you've got your weapon out when you're walking around with this thing. Only problem is when you aim down sights, it just goes off with the fairies, and if you, I don't know, maybe that's just to help you center the screen a little bit, but that camera is gonna jolt if you move, so probably don't use this thing in third person. But here's another one that I made. Suppressor. This one is actually the penetrating version, so we'll see how many walls that can punch. So if it can get through everything, then I'll actually be quite impressed. I don't know if that had any collision there at all. Well, I'm definitely hitting something, so maybe we'll go through something a little bit more solid. I really can't tell what I'm hitting at anyway. Like, we've got to be firing right at him to really make or have any sense of this. And I've also got the smart one right here with the reflex sight. That's as much as we got. Okay, well, we're gonna have to get a little bit closer with this thing. Can we please track headshots? Come on, responsive dragon or responsible dragon, whatever you want to call yourself. You let me down here. I'm locking on. We're getting our asses handed to us here. These gunners, they're taking many pieces of me. Perhaps the safety glasses weren't as protective as I thought. This lead is still causing damage. Also, you might not notice, but I installed a mod that redoes all of the shell casings, so I think that's pretty nice. I wonder if I can get collateral shots. We can't even one-mag these guys. Dear oh dear. I can probably do this though, right? Yeah, okay, so here's what's gonna happen. Here's how this is gonna work. I'm going to bend it like Beckham and stay in cover. That's how we do. Perfect. And it might be time for Nerd Rage in a second. Okay, don't do it in third person. You won't get anywhere. You having trouble? Well, we're in Nerd Rage now. May as well. Oh, there we go. That's the kind of damage you want. Only takes some major fixing from the multiplicative stacking of Destroy of Acadia and Nerd Rage itself. But, you know, that's pretty good. I don't know whether this thing is, like, coded to be bloodied at all. I don't think it is. But now we're getting, like, 300 damage with it, which is just great. That's better. It just suddenly got better, and I don't know why. I'm getting less damage now. That'd probably be because Destroy of Acadia is worn off. Oh, yeah. We are out of that surge of adrenaline damage is what I'd like to think that it is. You kill a bunch of synths, you earn that extra damage, damn it. Alright, let's switch tactics. Let's go penetrating version. Can I fire through this tree? No. So we're learning things the hard way here, like the US Armed Forces in Vietnam. See, the Viet Cong, those bastards, they were using AKs, much heavier round, and they could shoot through trees and shrubs and such that the M16 couldn't ever shoot through. And that was one of the big problems they had with the commies back in the day. Didn't go very well for the good guys in that war. Can't win them all though, can ya? Anyways, we're about to die. We'll try to keep things... Oh, come on. At least penetrate through geometry. Okay, maybe we're doing this all wrong. Perhaps we need to use this version in VATS a little bit against targets that are... Well, I'm getting extraneous damage, and I don't know what from. Oh, I've got no idea what's going on here. But we're alive, so that's something. I'm gonna go for a critical here. He sort of staggered before that critical even landed. That was weird. We look like such a dork holding the gun sideways. Alright. Let's go back to the regular old version here. Feel the power of the Torg weaponry. Needs more explosions, to be honest. Okay, this could potentially be the perfect time to use a smart version, right? He says as he brings out his penetrating. Let's go number 3 here. Oh, we can't lock on from this distance. Well, that was a little baby gunner up there, so that was okay. No, why must you take the ballistic path here? Come on. Oh, do you see the massive damage distance? I need to check the range on this thing, because I don't think it's that good. No, it's not. It's only 119. Well, this could be about it, because if we can't kill this gunner, then we're in a whole lot of trouble. Tell you what. Oh, okay, we're knocking down his sandbags one by one. Might have to go back to the drawing board on this one. This smart weapon, it's not as smart as you'd think it is. Okay, you're about to bear witness to my cunning, ingenious plan. It's called the look-away stealth commando method. This is not a good start. Also, Nightkin Suiciders. That's about... Well, that's not very balanced. That's about as balanced as legacy weapons, I think. Imagine that being charged up on. You can only hear them. That's brilliant, actually. Absolutely terrifying. All right, so we're gonna get stuck into that little baby rust devil over there. Now, I think Swan's the only bad thing left over there, so he's gonna come and have a look. But I'm gonna sit back here and get some glorious sneak criticals here. Yes, we'll do it without even being in line of sight. There we go. 80 damage, look at that. And we can stay out of line of sight, thus removing his ability to see me. Okay, maybe should have done this during the night. Must be said. Okay. In the broad daylight, he's gonna see us nice and easy like. But, slipping out of danger already. Never mind, we jumped and he saw the top of our head. This damage... It's not going to cut it. My best chance here is probably to activate Nerd Rage again and try to kill him then, but even that's a little bit of an ask. And we can't actually lob these projectiles over. Sometimes with the missile launcher, you could... Sometimes with the missile launcher, what you could do, if you've got the tracking barrel on it or the tracking modifications, is you could reliably hit stuff if you arc it. If you give it just a little bit of an arc, but I guess I am demonstrating the ability to do that here, but the projectile speed coming out of the barrel here, it's not lending itself well to being able to do that. Can't bend it like Beckham quite as effectively, unfortunately. And right now we're back into caution, which means we could be getting 75 damage instead of like 15, which is great, but we can't actually lock on. So we're going to be sitting here shooting at a very tanky target for ages. I suppose with this thing's zero recoil, we could just like shoot him in the head. That might be the way to go here. Gotta find the right angle here. He's taking effective cover against my smart munitions. I'm half a mind to wait until nighttime and just punch him to death with my bare hands. It's like seeing, what you call them, an LDV on the road, or one of those other Chinese brand cars, like those T60s. They've got these utes around here. They're supposed to be like cheap Hiluxes, or MGs, right? Just cheap Chinese crap. No good. You see that many MGs new, like 2022 models, maybe not that recent, but 2021, 2020 models. You see them on the marketplace all the time. We're changing them so that... Oh, it's going for his crotch. It's not particularly center of mass, I don't think, but looks like you might win this time, Swan. We might run out of 5.56s before we have time to beat you. Anyways, this weapon's like an MG3, so I don't recommend it for performance reasons, for damage reasons, or other reasons. If you're a big fan of Cyberpunk and you've got your game set at a lower difficulty where this stuff is not going to matter as much to you, then I say by all means download it. But in a system that I've just made up in my mind over the past couple of days, I recommend this thing, but will I be keeping it in my load order? Probably not. Fun to play with, but there's other weapons of substance around that I think are slightly better. And honestly, I like... Maybe if you like the game aiming for you, but honestly, I like aiming by myself a little bit more. Just a little bit more user input. We've got VATS if we want to let the game fight for us. We can squeeze extra damage out in criticals, but this thing... It's gonna struggle to kill a bear. Also, I'm going to get completely blind by shooting at a target. Okay, so I went deaf and blind there, and it even took out the microphone. So somehow the weapon just bugged out so hard that it took my microphone out. And I spent a lot of money on this, so it better not be fucked. Anyway, so that there was the Yinglong. It's not a very good weapon. I think with with further updates, this thing could be a little bit better, and I'd probably get rid of that casing ejection. That doesn't make a lot of sense for a smart weapon. But the third-person animations, although they're good, I think they need to be fixed up a little bit, because if the camera's going to do that and do something weird like completely remove two of my senses, then that's a problem. And if that happens during regular gameplay, you're going to have to reboot, and that sucks. So that'll need to be fixed, and this thing's damage is just too low to be used at a end game level, so meh. And the fact that it's a weapon that just sort of guides itself in, we've already got that in VATS, and there's a little bit more user input in that. Look, this is a personal opinion here, but I don't really rate that. I'd rather just shoot things with my mouse. Just point my gun with my mouse and shoot stuff. A little bit of a user input. That would just be subjective opinion. The sounds, I think, could be changed, but, you know, assault rifles, the sounds, they do pretty well enough. And I think that's it. So, do I recommend this thing? Unless you're really attached to Cyberpunk, maybe you saw that stupid anime Cyberpunk show and you're like, hey, that's from the anime. You can play this game and pretend you're a fucking cartoon. Then, great, do it. But if you want something that's able to kill stuff effectively and fast, this is probably not it. Will I be having it on my load order going further? No. I probably want to check this out a little bit later on, see if they've fixed it and made a weapon out of it. But for now, I can't really recommend this weapon as it is. So, on that note, thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.